My name is Mike Davenport, and I am the Senior Director of Production Operations for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
My name is Jack Reynolds, and I am a freelance broadcast technical director specializing in live sports.
It's Jim Kreischer, and I am a professional camera operator.
I'm Sam Orlowski, and I am a production assistant here in Pitt Athletics.
J.W. Staley, Pitt videographer for 15 years. Say it comes with instinct. First of all, knowing the game, and then secondly, having the ability to kind of do a couple things at the same time. So you're operating the camera and you're functioning all the controls that are on the camera, but you're also very in tune with the game. The tough thing is looking through a viewfinder, but then sometimes you keep your other eye open as well to kind of see out your peripheral. So what's nice is these wheelie chairs that you see, I'm kind of going back and forth. That helps as well, just to be able to keep up with the speed of the ball.
Puck sometimes is extremely difficult because you can lose sight of the puck along the boards, and a lot of times I'm just looking at body movement actually, because that can tell me which way the puck's going. If the guys are turning, just body motions. You know, shooting hockey for 23 years now, I've learned to sort of read the plays and follow along, but there are occasions where I have lost the puck and I kind of peek around my viewfinder, pick up back where it is, and start following the game again.
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, and when I first started, it was nice to maybe go home and watch a game and critique yourself and just see what you did well and what you might not have done well. There are some things like the top 10 on ESPN that's been around for a while, and knowing that you were like the #1 play of the day, had a part of it, is pretty exciting. So yeah, you would definitely want to, you know, watch it or share it with your family or tell someone about it. So yeah, there's always that little bit of, you know, ego with it when you're recognized at a higher level.
I think people don't realize is a lot of stuff they see is not live. Like drone shots you see usually are not live. They're usually pre-recorded and then played back later. Like blimps and helicopters and stuff, that's live. But drone stuff isn't live a lot of times. Like warm-ups a lot of times are not live. They're played back from tape. So I think a lot of people don't realize that. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff that's recorded and played back that people don't realize.
So a lot of people think that you're there having a blast, enjoying the game, relaxing, cheering on the teams. And in all reality, you know, you have specific assignments, you have specific responsibilities. Now, don't get me wrong, it is fun, it is a great thing to be a part of, but you are actually doing a job. So that is one thing that people just forget, that you're working.
I think that something people don't think about is the amount of people that it takes to run a broadcast. You have 6 cameras out there. You have maybe 10, 12 people in the control room that are all doing different positions. 1 million people that goes into it, but it almost is supposed to seem seamless on the TV. You know, the people aren't supposed to know any of that. You're just supposed to watch the game. And if you do your job right, people aren't really supposed to notice stuff like that. You know, when I watch other broadcasts of ones that have less cameras or stuff, but because I'm involved in this world.
A lot of a misconception is with my friends or neighbors who say, oh, the team's out of town. What do you do at work when the team's not playing? And I usually joke with them that we play video games on the Jumbotron and maybe have a beer or something, and they say, really? And I say, no, I'm getting ready for the next game, because there's a lot of production that goes into a game that most people don't realize that is scripted out to make sure the sponsors are taken care of, the rallies, all that stuff. There's a lot of time, pre-production, that goes into a game night hockey game.
One of the biggest misconceptions is that it's a glamorous job. It's one where, you know, you get to spend a lot of time around players and you get to watch games from the sidelines. And, you know, it is really cool getting to work on the sidelines and be close to the action. But, you know, it is a lot of work. You are there for very long days, very, very long stretches. I think my longest day in the World Cup was 18.5 hours. You know, it's not all glamorous. There's a lot of travel. It's a lot of time away from home, for example. You know, you don't get to see your family as much as you would probably like to. But it is a very fun job. Yeah, I mean, so I've only been doing this for 2 years, but even just those 2 years, the technology change is enormous. This is a field where the technology is always changing, where it never stops, and as a technician, you have to be ready for that. You have to learn to keep up. You have to learn to always be chasing new things. So, for example, this has been a larger trend, but in the last 2 years, I've watched trucks and facilities go from what's called baseband, which is just over copper cables, to what's called IP or networking. So everything's moving to the same system that you would have on like a Wi-Fi network almost. It's a little more advanced than that, but a complete shift in the way the workflows work and all the technology and back-end work. So it changes fast, but we just have to be ready for it. The average person watching at home isn't going to recognize the amount that goes into a game, which is a good thing, right? We are there to be transparent. We're not supposed to be the focus. The focus is supposed to be what's happening on field. That said, there is so much that goes into an event that people at home don't realize. How many people are on a game? Like for a football game, you might have 200-300 people on staff for a game. Even a baseball game, you might have 40, 50 people on staff for just a small baseball game, for example. And then it's also just the hours of preparation that goes into it. Like what people don't see is how much time is spent ahead of time, right?
Shooting a hockey game, my camera is the primary camera that you're seeing on the Jumbotron. I follow the puck as the main game cam, as they call it. So basically showing the puck and the players around it and following that. Located in the center of the ice. So basically, as I'm panning left to right, I am along the red line and it looks equal. If we were just taking the camera that's on the left slash or right slash and they're trying to follow the puck all the way at the other end of the ice, it's not going to look good on the TV. So even when you watch broadcast TV, it's usually one camera that you're seeing following left and right. And then if there's guys battling in the boards, there's a handheld camera down there that they'll cut to, but then they'll cut back to the regular camera.
Things happen, obviously. There's plenty of scenarios where equipment doesn't work or breaks, or we work in the cold a lot, we work in the heat a lot, so that obviously takes its toll on batteries and cables and equipment. It really comes down to preparation and redundancy. Shouldn't have a lot of failures, but they do happen from time to time. The important thing is does it appear to be a mistake to the audience? If the audience doesn't know it's a mistake, it's not a mistake. Only we know the mistakes.
The bigger the venue, the more cameras there are. And, like the World Series, which I've been fortunate enough to be a part of, they have like 45 cameras. So there are some positions, there's mainly like 5 cameras that are always on, that are part of the day in and day out coverage of the game. But then they have all these other responsibilities. So you might not get as much airtime as someone else, but you are as crucial to the broadcast and the team as everyone else. But know that you're going into a machine. Most TV broadcasts, every camera is being recorded. It might not be taken live, but something happens, they use you in a replay, and you're, like I said, you're still as important.
Relationship as a camera person to the director is unique, as they're telling me what they're looking for. During regular gameplay, I follow the puck. I frame a certain way, and if I get too tight or too wide, the director's going to let me know that to either tighten up or loosen up a bit. If it's a intermission or a TV timeout and there's a fan that we're trying to show on the Jumbotron, they might be directing me to a certain section and row and trying to find somebody. Even a military person that we might highlight on the next break, but during this break, I'm trying to find where they are so I know where they are when we actually get to that point in time.
The team works very closely together. Obviously, different areas don't work as much with other areas. So in terms of the camera side of it though, so the director's the one that makes the plan for the cameras. He has meetings with them about, hey, camera 2, you should be shooting this in this scenario. Hey, camera 5, you should be here when X is happening. The TD is the one that will get them all checked in and ready to go for the show. They'll make sure they have things like tallies, which are the little red light that comes on when they're hot so they know not to whip away. They'll make sure that their intercom is working correctly. They'll make sure that they can see and hear everything that they need to in their headphones and on their monitors. And then the camera guys, obviously the ones that are actually out there physically building the cameras. And then another department that people don't usually see is the video department. So they are the ones that are actually doing what's called painting the cameras. So they're the ones shading the cameras, getting the exposure right, getting the colors checked in, making sure that the signals are solid and the cameras aren't going to drop out in the middle of the game or something. They are the ones that get the cameras from the camera, the signals from the camera to the truck, into my switcher, and then once they hit my switcher, I check them in functional-wise.
Relationship with the camera operators and the directors is really important. The more directors you work with, the more understanding you have of the game you're covering. They all tend to follow a very similar pattern, but it is nice to know their personality, to know what they really like, what they don't like. Some directors do things differently. They'll cut a show a little different, which is the complete opposite of maybe another director. So you have to like put that somewhere in your head and say, okay, just remember that they like it this way, not this way. And normally they'll let you get away with, a correction. They'll tell you, hey, this is what I really want. So they work with you a lot. I do work at a TV studio as well, and I've worked with the director there for many years, and we have a good relationship. He doesn't even really tell me what kind of shots to get. He just knows that I'm going to provide him what he needs and vice versa. So you can develop a relationship like that, especially if you work day in and day out with the same person, which would be really a nice thing to have.
We work 41 hockey games a season, so nobody's patting your back after every game. But some nights you might do something that people do recognize. More recently, Sidney Crosby flipped the puck up to a kid during warm-ups, and it went viral. Pretty impressed to be able to read the body movement of Sid and capture that moment where another camera person probably didn't realize what was happening. So
I think if you do this, you're passionate about it, and every one of us, I know we talk about it, we get excited to come every day when we do sport. Better way or closer way to get to the game than being a camera operator, in my opinion. I mean, we get a pass that we wear, and then we sometimes get to run out onto the court. You really get to get closer than fans do, so it's kind of a fun atmosphere to be around all the time.
And we don't necessarily need to be recognized. We're happy to be there doing our job, telling the stories of these players and the people surrounding them. That doesn't mean we don't get recognized, though. For example, there is a Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame that people that have done a lot for the business can be inducted into. And then there's also our awards for technical teams. So I did the Qatar World Cup and the Australia Women's World Cup for the last 2 years. And in Qatar, we won a technical team Emmy. So it's not just an Emmy that recognizes the event or just the staff people that do it, but it's the entire technical staff of technicians that did the event. And so all of us got an award for that. So we don't do it for the recognition, but there is recognition that exists.
I took that photography passion and moved it along just to a bigger venue, and I really enjoyed it. Got to see and meet a lot of great people, be at a lot of events, Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, World Series. So to say that I enjoy what I do is an understatement. I enjoy going to work. Sometimes it doesn't feel like work. And like I said, you also get to meet a lot of great people that are in the production area. They have a lot of great stories about all the places they've been as well. So
when I was in high school, I did a lot with SVTV, and I had the opportunity to do a lot of different positions. And I remember the first time I TD'd a show was baseball. And any TD will tell you baseball's not an easy show to TD, because unlike soccer or football or hockey, where you have a game camera that you sit on that goes like this, baseball, unfortunately, doesn't have that. You're constantly cutting around because you have to go behind the plate for the pitch, and then if the ball's hit, you have to go up top to show the other direction, to show the ball on the field, and then you're showing players. You can't stay on any one place, so you're moving a lot. It's a busy show. And so my first time I ever TD'd, it was definitely difficult. I was very unsure of myself. Very new, not exactly sure what I was doing still. But, you know, we fought through it, had a decent show, came back the next day and did it all over again. And then the next day did it all over again. And just practiced a lot and spent a lot of time learning.
The Penguins called me and said, hey, would you like to join us full time? I was already shooting hockey, but the department was getting a little bigger and everything. So I said, yeah, that'd be great. And so I've been through 3 Stanley Cups. I've been on the team plane when we won the Cup in 2009 in Detroit and flew with the team back to Pittsburgh. And that's a moment in my life that I'm just very appreciative to be able to do this thing and be around these people who are very nice. And so now, after 23 years of doing this, I still love doing it. I still can't think of a day when I'm gonna have to say I can't do what I love to do. So until then, I'm just gonna keep shooting hockey games.